Jai Hind, dear students of class 12. Today I am continuing the same lesson, Human Settlements, Book 2, India, People and Economy. In my previous class, I have discussed about the ancient towns, medieval towns, and modern towns. Today I am going to start the topic to discuss urbanization in India. Now, see this part. Urbanization in India. The level of urbanization is measured in terms of percentage of urban population to total population. The level of urbanization, how we measure it? Simply percentage of urban population to total population. The level of urbanization in India in 2001 was 28%, but in 2011 it has increased more than 31%, which is quite low in comparison to developed countries. You must know that most of the European nations developed out of the world of North America, their maximum population reside in urban centers, towns and cities. But in India, if you are looking after the total population, you can imagine it is about today 100 and more than 130 crore. Out of that, if 31% population are living in city areas, you can imagine the population living in city areas or urban centers are more than the total population of bigger countries like Russia, and it is equivalent to the total population, almost equivalent to the total population of USA. In India, towns have evolved in past, in medieval history as well as in modern time. But today, the expansion of these towns is unplanned. For better education, better employment opportunity, better healthcare facilities, people in bulk are migrating from rural to urban areas. In India, this stream of migration, R to U, rural to urban, is very common. Due to this migration, the number of people living in city areas have increased a lot. As given here, you can see 11-fold during 20th century. Enlargement of urban centers. All the urban centers are expanding day by day, but in unplanned way. It is not good. You can see our city Varanasi. Varanasi is now a big city, but the expansion is unplanned. Because of unplanned expansion of any city, there are numerous problems raised like the sewage problem, roads are not constructed well, narrow lanes are there. So number of problems as well as solid waste management is now a bigger problem. So enlargement of urban centers and emergence of new towns have played a significant role in growth of urban population and urbanization in the country. It is also right that due to rural urban migration, many of the towns which are small in past now they are very much large. You can see one table I am showing you. See this table 4.1 India trends of urbanization 1901 2011. So here you can see that in 1901 the number of towns, here you can see it is 1827, have increased about 8000 in the year 2011, and source is Census of India, because most of our socio-economic data related to demography etc we find from census is the most comprehensive important source of data to us. So here you can see another thing, urban population, it is given in thousands. You can see it has increased a lot. Into 1901 it was 25,851.9 thousand, has increased up to 3,77,000 in the year 2011. In percentage of total population, the percentage of total population, the urban population, you can see it was only 10.84% in 1901, have increased up to 31.16 as I have said earlier in 2011. And the decennial growth in percentage, you can see it is now increasing day by day, you can see. So the urbanization is now a common trend in our country. There is a big challenge in front of the government to satisfy the needs of urban population, because unplanned growth of these urban sprawls has led many problems too. So urbanization in India is now at rapid speed. You can see now next topic is here, classification of towns on the basis of population size. Earlier we have discussed according to their development, ancient towns, medieval towns, modern towns. Now here classification of towns on the basis of population size, you can see Census of India classifies urban centers into six classes as presented in table 4.2. Urban center with population of more than 1 lakh is called a city or class 1 town. Any town is having population more than 1 lakh is class 1 town. Cities accommodating, from here it is important, cities accommodating population size between 1 to 5 million, 10 to 50 lakh are called metropolitan cities, and more than 5 million are mega cities. So in India, Mumbai, Kolkata, Delhi, Chennai, these are the mega cities now. Majority of metropolitan and mega cities are urban agglomeration. A new word is here, urban agglomeration. Actually, many small towns after expansion have merged with each other. Might have heard we are talking Greater Mumbai. Yes. So these are called urban agglomeration. Many towns have merged with each other. An urban agglomeration may consist of any one of the following three combination. Here you can see. Number one, a town and its adjoining urban outgrowth. Nowadays you can see Varanasi is having a outgrowth not only in south, in north also, as well as in Ramnagar, which is on the other bank of river Ganga. After that, Varanasi is expanding towards Mughal Sarai, and slowly after a few years you will see that both the towns have merged with each other. Two or more contiguous towns without their outgrowth. And third, city and one or more adjoining towns with their outgrowth together forming the contiguous strait. Examples of urban outgrowth are railway colonies, university campus. We can see after Lanka in Varanasi, there is university called Banaras Hindu University, largest residential university of Asia, and in rank in the world it is on third because of infrastructure and number of disciplines. You have seen DLW complex in another side of Varanasi. So slowly, military cantonment area, slowly there is outgrowth of these cities. Many villages come after a few years in towns and they become the part of municipal corporation. Now see this table 4.2. India class-wise number of towns and cities and their population. It is a data of 2001. All classes total class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4, 5 and 6. Here you can see class 1 town where you can see population is 1 lakh and more. If it is between 50,000 to 90,999, it is second class. 20,000 to 49,999, third class. Fourth and fifth and sixth less than 5,000. You can imagine the number of towns in this category. Class 1 town, you can see total towns here given, and class 1 town they are 423. It is too much. Then population in million. Maximum population you can see is here in these class 1 towns. Percentage of total urban population You can see it is maximum in class 1 town. And percentage growth between 1991 to 2001, it is 23.12%. You can see that the class 1 towns are expanding very fast in its size, especially. So these towns, one hand, actually they are providing better livelihood, better job opportunities, better medical care facility, better education for kids, which are not available in countryside or in villages. So people are mostly migrating, not only for purpose of livelihood, also for education. Might have a number seen a number of students in your school. They are studying in Varanasi. Their parents are residing in Varanasi or living in Varanasi only for education of their kids or children. So far, further we are going to discuss about the conclusion of table here given. It is evident from table 4.2 that more than 60% of urban population in India lives in class 1 town, as I have said. Out of 423 cities, 35 cities, or you can call them urban agglomerations, are metropolitan cities. Six of them are mega cities with population over 5 million. More than one fifth, 21% of urban population lives in these mega cities like Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai, Bangalore, Hyderabad. So these are the big cities. Among them, Greater Mumbai is the largest agglomeration. It is right, it is the largest city of India, Mumbai. Greater Mumbai is the largest agglomeration with population 16.4 million people. It is old data now, it is more than 2 crore population are there, more than 20 million, you can say. Bangalore and Hyderabad are other mega cities in the country. Delhi, you can see the spread of Ghaziabad, Noida, Gurugram or Gurgaon from Haryana. Now they are coming with their outgrowth and merging with Delhi. So Delhi is now, you can see, having a huge area of city expansion. People living in outside, they are working in main centers in Delhi. So slowly these cities are increasing in size. Now the next classification we have to discuss the functional classification of towns. Apart from their role as central or nodal places, many towns and cities perform specialized services. Nowadays, more or less, all cities are having all type of activities, no doubt. But all cities have some of the specific service. Some cities are there providing administrative. They are providing administrative services to the country or state. Some cities are there which are known for industries. So all these cities have different type of functions, but more or less all functions today in this time are found in all cities. So given here, some towns and cities specialize in certain functions and they are known for specific activities, products or services. However, each town performs a number of functions. But which is the main function? On the basis of dominant or a specialized function. You can see the function which is going on mainly there in that city or the function which is dominating over other services. Accordingly that Indian cities and towns can be broadly classified as follows. You can see the first name is given here, administrative town and cities. Administrative towns and cities. The towns and cities which are having all the administrative setup to control over the territory, district or the area. Towns supporting administrative headquarters of higher order are administrative towns such as Chandigarh. Do you know? Chandigarh is the capital of states. It is the capital of Punjab, Haryana and itself it is union territory and capital of Chandigarh is Chandigarh. New Delhi, the entire setup for government of India as well as Delhi government, all they are in New Delhi. New Delhi area. Bhopal, Bhopal is the capital of Madhya Pradesh. Shillong, the capital of Meghalaya. Guwahati, actually Guwahati is given here, but the capital of Assam is known as Dispur. Dispur is the part of Guwahati. So here it is mentioned Guwahati, but Dispur is the part of Guwahati that is known as the capital of Assam. Imphal, Manipur. Srinagar, now Jammu and Kashmir. Gandhinagar, it is very close to Ahmedabad, but the capital of Gujarat. Jaipur, the pink city of India. Chennai, it means all the capitals of different states as well as of the union territories, they are having a dominant function for administrative work, so known as administrative town and cities. Now, next is the category of industrial town. There are some towns where many industries have developed. Industries constitute prime motive force for these cities. It means in these cities, number of industries are there and industrial products or production is too much, and they are known basically for production of commodities. You can see that as cities as Mumbai is famous, it is known as economic capital of India too. Salem in Tamil Nadu is known for iron and steel plant. There one integrated iron and steel plant is there. Coimbatore is famous for cotton textile industry, again in Tamil Nadu. Coimbatore. Modinagar, Jamshedpur, it is famous in Jharkhand for iron and steel plant, but many other industries have developed over this part. Earlier, do you know where today we are having a big town known as Jamshedpur? It was a small village and its name was Sakchi, Sakchi, Sakchi. Jamsetji Tata has found it is an appropriate place to locate his first integrated iron and steel plant of India in 1907 because Sakchi was located at confluence of two rivers, Kharkai and Subarnarekha. As in iron and steel industry, there is huge requirement of water, so he has chosen, Jamsetji Tata has chosen this particular place to install his industry. He have developed. Today you know that it is the largest and oldest integrated iron and steel plant of India and only integrated plant in private sector. So Jamshedpur, it was a small village, today it is a big city. Hooghly in West Bengal for jute textile. Bhilai in Chhattisgarh is also for iron and steel industry. It is famous. Integrated plant is there. So these are the towns which are example for industrial town. Industrial function is main there. Now next is the transport cities. There are some cities which have come in existence because for providing transportation facilities. They may be ports, primarily engaged in export and import activities. For example, Kandla. Kandla in Gujarat, the city has expanded very fast after independence because as we lost the port of Karachi in hand of Pakistan and Mumbai was the port that time have a lot of pressure on it. So to release the pressure, Kandla in Gujarat as a port developed. Import and export activity started there and slowly the town has immersed in big shape. Kochi, you can see the name Kochi, it is in Kerala. It is a naval port also. Naval port means for नौसेना, नौ सैनिकों के लिए उन लोग के जहाजों का बेड़ा भी वहां पे है कोच्चि में. कोझिकोड अगेन इन केरला. विशाखापट्टनम, Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh. It is famous for iron ore export to Japan and Korea. So Visakhapatnam, etc., or hubs of inland transport like Agra. Another example that is very common for us, this is the Mughal Sarai. You can observe Mughal Sarai. It is the It is called as the largest junction of Indian Railway. So Mughal Sarai, another example is there. Itarsi, Katni. These are the centers where from railways are moving or radiating in different directions in different parts. So they become the transport cities. Next category is the commercial town. Commercial, which is known for business. So here you can see towns and cities specializing in trade and commerce are kept in this class. For example, Kolkata. Earlier, number of industries were working especially in Kolkata, but because of government policies over there adopted by the communist government, then Trinamool Congress, etc. We are not going to discuss about the political scenario. But Kolkata earlier it was industrialized town, and town was known for industries. Today, number of industries are working over there, no doubt, but it is the biggest commercial center in eastern India. Saharanpur in Uttar Pradesh. Satna. Have you heard the name of Satna in Madhya Pradesh? As you are crossing Uttar Pradesh, then Satna is coming. Satna is famous for cement production also, but marketing of cement is mainly done here. So all these are some examples of commercial towns. Now, next example is of mining towns. Mining. These towns have developed in mineral rich areas. Earlier, there were no towns in these parts, but after knowing that these regions have mineral availability, mining activity has started, and slowly you can see like the Raniganj. Why Raniganj famous? For coal. Yes, Raniganj, Jharia, the largest coal field of India. Digboi in Assam. Digboi in Assam is famous for production of crude oil. Ankleshwar in Gujarat, again for production of petroleum. Singrauli in Madhya Pradesh. So all these cities for coal, all these cities have come in existence only after mining activities have developed. And it is very important to know that garrison cantonment town, garrison cantonment towns. During the time of British government, a number of towns were developed in past which were basically developed to serve the purposes of military. In past, actually they have served especially for military purposes, so named as garrison cantonment town. As you must have, garrison towns means to serve the purpose of army, like the Ambala. Ambala Kent is famous. Jalandhar in Punjab and Mhow, MHOW, Mhow is pronunciation, and it is also famous. Babina, it is Punjab, and Udhampur. All these are the towns known as garrison cantonment towns. So functional classification of towns are here. You have seen another category based on functional classification is the educational town. The towns which are known for better education. Starting as centers of education, some of the towns have grown into major campus towns, such as Roorkee. The students who are interested in knowing about the technological development and IT sector of India, they know about the Roorkee. Varanasi is famous from ancient time for its knowledge. It is the city having three big universities. You can say BHU, Banaras Hindu University, Mahatma Gandhi Kashi Vidyapeeth, and Sampurnanand Sanskrit University. Aligarh, there is a central government university known as Aligarh Muslim University. Pilani, known for one institute known as Pilani Institute of Technology. Allahabad is also known for preparation for IAS, PCS, UPSC services. Besides that, university is there and many others. So all these towns are known for education. Now you can see the next category is the religious and cultural towns. Religious and cultural towns. Varanasi. Varanasi, the educational town, as you have seen just educational town. Varanasi is example here. You can see Example, Varanasi is here also mentioned in educational towns as well as in religious town. Religious town means the towns which are basically known for their function related to any particular religion. Varanasi, in Sanskrit known as Kasi, is famous for Hindu people. It is known as Tirath. This means pilgrimage. Mathura in Uttar Pradesh again is famous for pilgrimage, and Mathura is known for its temples also. Thousands of temples are there in Mathura. Amritsar, famous for Golden Temple, Swarn Mandir. Madurai for Meenakshi Temple. Puri, Ajmer for Dargah Moinuddin Chishti. Pushkar in Rajasthan, famous for Brahma Mandir. Tirupati for Balaji Temple. Kurukshetra in Haryana. Haridwar, located in between Shivalik and Ganga River. Location of Haridwar is quite very beautiful. In north and northeast, there is location of Shivalik, and in south, Ganga is flowing over there. In between Shivalik and Ganga, Shivalik in north and Ganga in south, Haridwar is located. Ujjain is famous also. Come to prominence due to their religious and cultural significance. Now listen, Allahabad, you can take example of Allahabad also. Allahabad now Prayagraj. It is also a big pilgrimage for Hindus, especially at the time of Kumbh Mela, which is organized at very large scale. Do you know how many places are there where Kumbh Melas are organized? Yes, 4 places are there. You can see the largest one is the Allahabad, now Prayagraj, Haridwar, Nasik in Maharashtra, and Ujjain in Madhya Pradesh. Ujjain is located at the bank of Shipra River. So all these towns are famous for religious activity. Now see the tourist towns. Many towns have developed because of development of tourism. Especially during the time of Britishers, these towns have come in existence. These tourist towns, you can take the name Nainital. There is a lake, and around lake there is picturesque location in Himalaya. Slowly, slowly the town have emerged. Mussoorie, Simla, Pachmadi in Madhya Pradesh, Jodhpur, Jaisalmer in Rajasthan, Udag Mandalam, commonly known as Ooty, Mount Abu again in Rajasthan, Mount Abu again in Rajasthan in Aravalli range are some of the tourist destinations. The cities are not static in their function. Earlier I have quoted that all cities are having more or less all type of functions today. But the main function which dominate over the other functions, accordingly we are classifying. According to function we are classifying the cities. The functions change due to their dynamic nature because cities are expanding and the work, industries, and the type of industries, everything is changing day by day. Even a specialized cities, as they grow up into metropolises, become multifunctional, wherein industry, business, administration, transport, etc. become important. You can take the example of Mumbai. Mumbai is famous for import and export. It is famous as the administrative headquarters of Maharashtra. Mumbai is famous for many industries. Mumbai is famous for its business, for transportation, everything. So more or less all functions are there in Mumbai, but Mumbai is classified as industrial town. The functions get so intervened. All these functions are related to each other that the city cannot be categorized in a particular functional class. But the functions is dominant over other functions. Accordingly, we are classifying the cities. Now you can see the exercises are given. You have to do yourself with the help of content given to your NCERT book. Like choose the right answer of the following from given options. Which of the following towns is not located on a river bank? Agra, Yamuna river is there. Patna, Ganga is there. Kolkata, Hooghly is there. Bhopal, it is located near a lake. So in this way, you have to find out the right options. Many questions are given for practice. Just go through once, and coming time I will provide you PDF also, which will contain all these. Now recall one thing that is again important for your board question. I am just going over this part. Yes, in India we are having three types of town. You can observe three types of town: ancient towns, medieval towns, and modern towns. The towns which have developed in past long years ago are supposed as ancient towns. There are number of towns in India having historical background spanning over 2000 years. Here example you can see Prayag, Allahabad, Patliputra, the old name of Patna, Madurai, Varanasi. These are the examples of ancient towns. If you are looking forward medieval towns, you can see that about hundreds of existing towns have their roots in medieval period. Most of them have developed as headquarters of principalities and kingdoms, like the port towns. You can take the example. Important among them are Delhi, Hyderabad, Jaipur, Lucknow, Agra, Nagpur, etc. In the modern towns, the British and other Europeans have developed a number of towns in India, starting their foothold on coastal locations. They first developed some of the trading ports, can recall Surat, Daman, Goa, Pondicherry, etc. The British later consolidated their hold around three principal nodes, three zones of India. They have captured and developed port towns like the Mumbai in west, Kolkata in east, and Chennai, now already it was known as Madras, in south. They have developed these cities for their benefits. So it's all for this lesson. I hope you understood the concept, and I request you all go through the contents again. Thank you. Have a nice day.